The first topic for January 2017 was Transition to Positive Intentionality, which is Patrick Lecture 198. And what I tend to do can seem simplistic, but for me, when I'm dealing with abstract concepts, I like to break them down. So I divided the four-part study guide into what is a transition, what is positive intentionality, what is negative intentionality, and then the last section on how these all work together. Interest in the meetings was highest on the idea of what is positive intentionality. And for that section, I included information from another lecture that I found where the Patrick Guide said, give me your negative examples and I'll show you the positive meaning behind them, the positive quality that went into distortion, becoming the negative example of what you see. And the value of that, I found it valuable too. The value of that was that part of the transition process, which is a process and also a gaining of skill, part of the transition involved seeing things from a different perspective. So this takes time to build up those little intellectual muscles, to not knee-jerk react and see things the way we've always seen things, or the way the influences on us have trained us to see them, but to see things differently. So finding the positive under the negative will come up sometimes with, well, it's better than nothing, or well, this, or well, instead of taking the time to really find the positive. What I mean by that is, if you take any example and you try to justify it, that's not yet the positive. So you can have a negative problem, and you can have positive aspects of that negative problem. But what the guide was suggesting was that you look underneath at the original impulse. In other words, if someone is, I use this metaphor a lot, that when we're angry at one thing and we're frustrated, we will displace our anger onto something else. I call it kicking the dog. So whatever happens at work, you come home, you're angry, you kick the dog, or the equivalent of the dog, the child, the television, the spouse. But you're displacing the anger. That's a negative. The semi-positive is, well, at least it's a release. The invitation is to go deeper than that and look for the original impulse. To do that, if you go back to my job made me angry, why? Did it make you angry because you had an ideal of what you could offer and that was thwarted by someone? That ideal is the positive that generated the anger at being frustrated, because ideals are important, and then a need to vent so you wouldn't blow up, which it's good that you don't explode. So taking out your anger is better than exploding, but it's not really a positive. Better than nothing. And better than nothing is, the guide's term for that is negative pleasure. So to go back to the original impulse, if my original impulse is to serve my government and be generous and bring people in and serve my citizens, and then the job prevents me from doing that, the guide's invitation is look at the original impulse and figure out how to make that more possible. More possible. There will always be laws, regulations, bosses, supervisors, extra paper on your desk, not enough hours in the day. But if we focus on making our ideals and our dreams more possible, then we have a chance of increasing job satisfaction, using this example. And we have a chance of not feeling frustrated or as frustrated at the end of the day. And this is what I mean by process. And part of our humility, or part of spirituality, is to learn to be humble and to admit that I haven't paid a lot of attention to this in the past, so the problem has gotten large. And to knuckle down and do the hard work of finding and honoring our original positive impulse so that it has a better chance of manifesting in the world. I hope you read the lecture, Transition to Positive Intentionality, Pathwork Lecture 198. Thanks for listening.